Hello and welcome back once again to the Wrestling Rant. It's Monday, May 19th, 2014. Show just ended and it sucked. So, this episode of Raw was taped. I don't know if it was earlier today or another day. Who gives a fuck? It was taped in London, England, of course. Since they're overseas, they can't really do the damn show live, which is why I wonder why the hell they do it in England. Like, go over there and do a house show, fine. Do a taped episode of SmackDown, fine. Don't do Raw there. It just fucks things up. Anyways, who gives a fuck? As I said, the show sucked, so I'm going to get through it as quick as I possibly can, because I'd really rather be doing something else at this point. The stupid intro to the show, you know, the, what was it, Then Now Forever bullshit, that new thing, it doesn't even get all the way through. It gets cut off, the stupid Wyatt cut. The three of those ass clowns are in the fucking ring, and Bray starts talking. He's singing his stupid song, and he cuts a promo, and he admits to being evil, and yet the moron crowd is still cheering for him. And he starts getting towards the match that they have hyped, another rematch from SmackDown, I believe, Cena and Harper. And so Bray's talking, saying that Luke is going to finish Cena off, whatever the fuck. And of course, Cena's music hits. Harper and Rowan jump out of the ring real quick to go up towards the ramp to cut Cena off at the pass. But of course, Cena comes from behind, out of the crowd or something, and attacks Bray, hits him with the attitude adjustment. And then, as Harper and Rowan go to get back in the ring, Cena slides out of the ring and runs up the ramp really quick to the stage, like the chicken shit coward that he is. Fucking hell. We get a recap from Stephanie's promo last week on Raw, where she talked about Daniel Bryan, after Bryan said that he had to go away a while to get surgery and recuperate and all that shit. And of course it also showed Kane dragging Bryan out onto the stage and Bryan being stretchered out, yada yada. And that's basically just a segue into them hyping a segment calling the State of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And that's coming up later on. Cutting back to the ring, there's Cesaro and Paul Heyman. And Heyman, of course, starts talking, and the crowd is basically just... I guess the joke here was that everything Heyman says is so predictable, the crowd is playing sing-along with it, and Heyman, immediately gets sick of it. He's like, okay, let's define our roles here. Me and Cesaro, are the stars, and you people are the wannabes. Yada yada. And of course, he ends up he goes to do his My Client Brock Lesnar. He goes to do that, and of course, the crowd's singing along with him, so Paul stops. And he says, you know what, fine. Paul lays down on the fucking ring, and he says, who am I? And he says, no, I'm not your Queen Elizabeth, dead, finally, and whatever the fuck. No, I'm the Undertaker, who couldn't get the hell up at WrestleMania, whatever the fuck. So it was kind of a funny joke, but whatever. He finally introduces Cesaro, and who gives a shit? Sheamus's music hits, and he comes out. So we're going to have a match between these two. Turns out to be a decent match. Cesaro slaps Sheamus in the face, which of course pisses Sheamus off. Yada yada yada. Sheamus does his stupid clubbing bullshit. The crowd didn't really care much for the match. So much so to the fact where they started chanting for JBL, and then they started chanting for Jerry Lawler, and then they cut to a commercial break. Coming back, Cesaro does his deadlift superplex, and let's see, Sheamus went for his flying shoulder tackle thing off the top rope, but Cesaro caught him with a European uppercut, and the finish of the match comes when Heyman decides to jump up on the fucking apron and distract Sheamus, so much to the point where Heyman pulls off his suit jacket and he throws it in the ring. Sheamus is so distracted, he goes over towards the ropes. Cesaro comes up behind him, grabs him around the waist, does his little deadlift German suplex thing, and he gets the win with it. So Cesaro wins. Okay, fine. Cesaro and Heyman are kind of standing there. They're like, yay, we won and everything. Sheamus gets up and he's like, yeah, that was cool. Yeah, He goes over towards Cesaro. Paul Heyman gets out of the fucking ring. And he's like, you know what, alright, you got me. And he puts his hand out for a handshake. And Cesaro goes to shake it, but then goes around behind and he's like, nope, too good for you, or whatever the fuck. He basically just blows him off. He gets out of the ring, him and Heyman leave, and they leave Sheamus to look like a dejected little bitch. The announcers, the shitty fucking commentators, inform us that now the match at Payback, which is in 2 weeks, by the way, the match at Payback between Evolution and The Shield, the 6-man tag match, is now a no-holds-barred elimination match. So, great. Who gives a fuck? We get a recap of Reigns versus Batista from last week. And of course the ensuing fight that happened between The Shield and Evolution, as well as Stephanie sending out all the heels, and The Shield fighting them all off and standing tall like the beasts that they fucking are. And so we get a recap of that. And, again, the commentators announce that we're going to get a rematch from SmackDown, I believe it was. Seth Rollins is going to take on Batista again, but this time everyone else is going to be banned from ringside, except for, and here's where it gets interesting, except for official, air quotes, official ringside personnel. So, of course, what the fuck do you think's gonna happen with that supposed stipulation? We get hyped for that, though, whatever, and we cut to another commercial break. Coming back from the break, the commentators, they say, yeah, we've got German commentators now. There was another commentary table, but apparently it's German-speaking commentators. So whatever, who cares? Cutting back over to the ring, 5 feet away, Big E is already in the ring. And so are Ryback and Curtis Axel. And this is going to be the first in a series of Beat the Clock challenge matches to determine the new #1 contender to the Intercontinental title. So, if it wasn't bad enough we had to get a tournament to determine a #1 contender to get Wade Barrett a shot at the Intercontinental title so we could hand it to him, we now are doing Beat the Clock challenge matches to find another #1 contender. Whatever. Before the match starts, we get a picture-in-a-picture promo from Ryback. And he basically talked about Big Ben and how Big E's time is up. Fuck you. We get the match, which turned out to be decent. They started chanting for Bad News Barrett, or actually they specifically chanted BNB. Of course we're in London, so the Brits are gonna chant for their fucking hometown piece of dog shit. Ryback hits the meat hook clothesline. Botched counter. Can't remember what that was, but there was a botched counter to something. Who cares? What ends up happening is Big E hits the big ending and wins the match in 5 minutes, 2 seconds. So that's your time to beat for the other 2 matches. We get more hype for Luke Harper and John Cena for the main event. We get more hype for that, and they cut to another commercial break. Coming back, R-Truth's music hits, and I'm like, okay, great, Truth and Woods are going to job to Rusev again. By the way, I wasn't really paying attention through most of this fucking show, because since it was taped, I was really just regretting watching it, and I was thinking I should probably just look up notes for it and do that. But no, I suffered through it, and I'm kicking myself for doing so. But anyways, Truth is coming out, and I look over, Xavier Woods is nowhere to be found, but the Funkadactyls are coming out with Truth. And I'm like, huh? Why are they back with Truth again? When the hell did this start happening again? And not only that, but Truth is doing his little rap as he's coming to the ring, and every time he goes, what's up, he would put the mic over to either Naomi or Cameron, and they'd go, what's up? So, ugh. Anyways, this is all just a big setup. Anyways. Truth comes out with the Funkadactyls, and then Fandango comes out with Layla. And at the end of their entrance, Johnny dips Layla and kisses her. And it looks like when Roberts, the ring announcer, was announcing it, he said Fandango and Layla, the team of Fandango and Layla. So I'm like, wait, are we getting a mixed tag match? Anyways, before any match can start, this music hits. And I recognized it immediately because it sounded awful. I'm pretty sure this was her NXT theme. It's the returning Summer Rae. Summer's been gone ever since Johnny dumped her sorry ass and picked up Layla. Summer comes out with dagger eyes. She gets in the ring. She dips Johnny and kisses him. And then she kind of throws him aside and dives on Layla. Big cat fight. Gets broken up by the referee, and I think Johnny tries to help break it up, but whatever. Johnny and Layla are backing up the ramp, and Summer is just left in the ring smiling. That's the end of the fucking segment. So I guess we were supposed to get a match, but we had to just interrupt it because, oh look, Summer Rae's back. Not that anybody fucking cares about her anyways. More hype for the State of the Title segment, and that's going to be next. And before they cut to a commercial, they do another Bo Dallas video. And at the end of it, it finally says that his sorry ass is debuting this Friday on SmackDown. So once again, I'm glad I won't be watching the show. But after the stupid video package, they cut to a commercial. Coming back from the commercial, Daniel Bryan's music hits, and I'm like, wait a minute, he can't possibly be there. He just underwent neck surgery, which was successful, by the way. I happened to see that on Facebook. So I'm like, he can't possibly be there. Sure enough, out comes Stephanie, mockingly doing the yes. Yes, basically going through Bryan's entrance, only about halfway. She comes out, she talks, and she uses a couple of clips of Bad News Barrett saying, I've got some bad news, blah, blah, blah. She says she's thinking of stripping Bryan of the title since he can't defend it. But no, she's not going to, because she wants Bryan to show up at Raw next week to surrender the title to her. So, you're not going to strip him of it, but you want him to surrender the title, which is basically the same fucking thing as stripping him of the title. That's number one. Number two is, you know he's not going to give the belt up willingly. It's just not going to happen. Anyways, that's basically the gist of her promo. That's the end of that segment. We get more hype for the Rollins and Batista match. And more hype for the Harper and Cena match. And we cut to another commercial break. Coming back, this weird British, almost like Beatles-type rock music hits, and the Titantron and Minitron say the Union Jacks, and I'm like, oh Jesus, not this again. Yeah, 3MB comes out in Union Jack flag pants, and Slater's even wearing a Union Jack flag print vest. And this got a pop from the moron British fans. Who gives a shit? Slater starts talking on the mic. He gets cut off by Lana's music, and I'm like, wait a minute, why the hell would Rusev be going after 3MB? They're heels. And none of them are black. But yeah. Lana talks, of course. I can't remember a word she said. She introduces Rusev. Rusev comes out to no reaction, and then he talks for the first time in, like, ever. And Rusev starts coming down to the ring. Slater dives out of the ring at him, but gets caught and slammed. And Rusev beats the fuck out of Mahal and McIntyre as well. And then he picks Slater back up, chucks his dumbass in the ring, and he gets in the ring with him, so the ref starts the match. We get a shit squash match. And pretty much the match was nothing but Rusev picking Slater up, hitting that weird swinging slam that he does, rolling Slater over, locking him in the fucking Accolade, and Slater taps out like a bitch, and Rusev wins. So, shit squash match, moving on. Cutting up to the Titantron, we see the Shield guys back in one of their hallways with another one of their great promos. And Ambrose talks, and he cuts good promo, and he segues that into Roman, who talks, and they even show off. I haven't been able to mention this yet. This happened over the weekend or over the past week. They were at a house show over in England, London, somewhere. I'm not sure exactly. But let's see. I think it was supposed to be a cage match between Reigns and Randy Orton. And they both came running at each other, and I think what was supposed to happen was Roman was supposed to spear Randy. But, I don't know, I think I talked about this in the SmackDown video. Yeah, I did. They bonked heads, and Roman got split open over his eye. And I think they even showed the cut earlier on. I'm not exactly... Well, I know they did, but yeah. But Roman's talking, he's like, look at this, 9 stitches. Like, you know, is that all you got? He's talking to Evolution. Is that all you got, you bitches? That better not be all you got, because if that's the best you got, you're in some serious trouble. And they segue into Rollins, who starts talking about his match with Batista, and he says, you know what, last week on SmackDown, I got a little cocky, I made some mistakes, and I got caught for it, you know, whatever. But Batista tried to put me out of action, tried to take me out, tried to end my career, but he couldn't get the job done. And he says, tonight there's not going to be any more mistakes. I'm going to give Batista one hell of a beating, you know, that kind of shit. Believe in the Shield, and that's it. And they cut to another commercial. Coming back from the commercial, Alberto Del Rio is in the ring already, so jobber entrance, so guess who's losing? RVD's music hits and he comes out. And while RVD is coming out, we get another picture-in-a-picture promo, this time from Del Rio. Who cares? Moving on. This is going to be the second Beat the Clock Challenge match. And it's a crap match, of course, because it's Del Rio and RVD ends up gassed pretty quickly. Let's see. They show Big E watching backstage. Of course, he's currently holding the time to beat, but then again, he was the first guy to win, so of course he's holding the time to beat. Del Rio hits the back cracker, and RVD oversells it like he always does. And apparently, RVD went to do the Rolling Thunder twice, but he didn't do it right. He didn't do the rolling part for some strange reason. Apparently what it was is Del Rio was too close to the ropes, and so Rob couldn't do the rolling. So he just hits the ropes, jumps over Del Rio, hits the other ropes, stops, and then jumps and flips and does the senton. And apparently he did this twice. I only saw it once, but I don't really give a fuck. Anyways, Rob went for the 5-star, and Del Rio got out of the way. Del Rio went to hit the concussion kick, but Rob ducked it and rolled up Del Rio for the quick win. 1, 2, 3, RVD wins in 4 minutes, 15 seconds. So he just missed 420 by 5 seconds. Stupid fucking joke. Moving on. And Rob is now the record, or the best time holder, whatever the fuck. More hype for Cena and Harper, and we cut to another commercial break. Coming back from the break, we get a recap of the opening segment, Cena hitting the attitude adjustment on Bray and running like a total bitch. Then we cut backstage to Renee Young, who introduces that she's about to interview John Cena. Whatever the fuck. And Cena starts talking, and he brings in the Usos, who are now his best friends because he needs somebody to help him even the odds against the Wyatts. And then they started doing this weird, goofy, grunting thing. Apparently, it's a reference to The Wolf of Wall Street. Haven't seen that movie, so I've got no clue what the fuck it was. It was stupid as fuck. And that's the end of the thing. We cut over to locker room. I guess it looked like a really nice locker room. And there's Evolution, Batista, Randy, and Triple H. And the gist of it is Triple H tells Batista to finish Rollins tonight. He says, we're not going to wait for the pay-per-view to take these guys out one at a time. I want you to finish Rollins tonight. And that's pretty much it. They cut to another commercial. Coming back from this commercial, commentators announced that we're going to get Mark Henry versus Cesaro tomorrow night on Main Event. And then the Shield music hits, and Rollins comes out all by himself. Of course, since it's supposed to be only authorized personnel at ringside. So Rollins is out by himself. And then King of Kings hits. And out comes Triple H, and he's wearing his new Evolution shirt. He's got his hands taped like he's ready for a fight. He's wearing his blue jeans and his shoes or whatever the fuck. He's in like his street fight gear. And he comes out, and as he's coming out, Roberts, the ring announcer, announces that Triple H is the guest ring announcer. So, of course, you can see where this is going. As Triple H is coming out, he has a microphone, and he says, allow me to introduce, and do my job as the guest ring announcer, allow me to introduce the guest timekeeper, Randy Orton. So again, you can see where this is going. They're kind of trying to set up Rollins to get his ass kicked. Either way, Triple H and Orton get down to the ring, and Triple H, still being ring announcer, announces Batista, who comes out to the Evolution music. And he also comes out to no fucking reaction, because nobody gives a fuck about this klutz. And so I'm thinking at this point, okay, probably the only smart thing to do would be to just forfeit the match and leave. I don't know. Honestly, what I would have done, I'd have grabbed a mic and said, you know what? You're obviously stacking the deck against me, so here's the deal. Only official personnel are allowed at ringside during the match. I forfeit the match, and so the match is now over. Ambrose and Reigns, you guys can come on down, and we can have ourselves a nice 6-man brawl. No, that's not what happens. However, Rollins does get out of the ring and jump back to the ring steps, and he grabs himself a microphone, which is nice and conveniently placed there. and he talks, and he says, you know what, I kind of figured you guys were going to be doing something shady like this, so allow me to introduce to you the special guest commentators for this match. Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose. Shield music hits, the two of them come out, and they come down and get on commentary. And they actually do a good job of spicing up the commentary, because good God is it woeful normally. Anyways, so again, you can kind of see where this is going. And, I was starting to question this right away. Like, okay, Triple H is the COO, he's got the power, he can make himself special ring announcer, and make Orton the special guest timekeeper. Okay, fine. How in the hell does Rollins have the power to just randomly make Ambrose and Reigns the special commentators? Well, we find out through Ambrose and Roman's commentary during the match that it was actually Brad Maddox who they were able to convince to make them the commentators. And I think at some point during the match, JBL or somebody said, you know, I just heard over the headset that Brad Maddox is actually in the trainer's office right now being checked on by the trainer. Who put him there? And I think Ambrose said, I did. Stupid. So apparently they basically threatened Maddox into making them the guest commentators, and then they beat the shit out of him anyways. So the match starts going anyways, and it was a decent match. There was a commercial break. There wasn't really a whole lot of stuff in the first part of this match before the commercial break. Not to mention the fact that I just don't care at this point. Anyways, Batista threw Rollins into the ropes, and as he came back, he caught him with a back elbow that Rollins oversold like crazy. He did the complete backflip landing on his face thing. It looked great, but it's just like, Jesus Christ. Rollins managed to hit a diving blockbuster from the second turnbuckle or something like that, whatever. He got Batista outside the ring and suicide dived on him. And let's see, there was a distraction from Randy. I think Rollins was going for a dive off the top rope, and Randy jumped up on the apron to distract him, but, you know, whatever the fuck. As soon as Randy does this distraction, Ambrose and Reigns get off commentary. They take their headsets off. They've been standing the whole time. They weren't even sitting down. They've been standing, and even Roman was kind of like pacing. He's like watching Randy and Triple H, making sure they ain't doing anything to interfere. And as soon as Randy starts fucking around, they throw their headsets down, and they're like, no way, bitch, we're gonna fuck with you now. By the way, there was a funny comment between Ambrose and Reigns. They were talking about the cut over Reigns' eye, and what was the line? I think Ambrose said, you know, Roman's mom used to hit him harder than that. And Roman just kind of chuckled and said, that's a true story. It's like, true story, bro. That's hilarious. Anyways, after Ambrose and Reigns went off commentary, Rollins countered the spear, because Batista went for the spear. Can't remember how he countered it. Oh, yeah. As Batista comes running in, he's hunched over to spear him. Rollins just kind of kicked him in the face, basically, and that knocked Batista loopy. So Seth jumps out of the ring onto the apron, springboards from the apron, and does that big flying knee shot to the head. And I think after that, Randy decides to jump up on the apron again for another distraction. He distracts the referee. And on the other side of the ring, Rollins is up on the top rope going to dive on Batista. And so the referee is tied up with Randy on the other side of the ring. He can't see what's happening. The referee can't see. So Triple H jumps up on the apron, shoves Rollins off the top rope. And so, okay, it's obvious this ain't gonna this ain't gonna end well. So Ambrose and Reigns decide it's time for the fight, and the fight breaks out. Brawl, 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 brawl. Triple H hits Rollins, and the ref sees it, and so there's a DQ, so I'm going to guess Rollins wins the match by DQ. Rollins is still in the ring with Batista, and Randy and Triple H are outside brawling with Reigns and Ambrose. And Rollins back in the ring gets speared by Batista, but then Ambrose jumps on the apron to distract Batista, just long enough so Roman can come into the ring from the other side. Batista turns around and gets plowed through by Reigns with his own spear. And Randy and Triple H had been taken out on the outside of the ring, and so Rollins and Ambrose and Reigns are all in the ring with Batista, and they're going to set him up for the Fall of Justice, the big triple power bomb. But of course, I think Randy jumped up on the apron and Ambrose ran up and drop kicked him, and so that was enough of a distraction for Batista to roll out of the fucking ring. And so the Evolution backs up like cowards, and the Shield stands tall in the ring. Yay. That's the end of that segment. We get more hype for Cena and Harper in the main event, and we cut to a commercial break. Coming back from the break, we get the Raw rewind of last week, the match between Alicia Fox and Paige. And of course, Fox losing and then proceeding to freak the fuck out. Cutting into the arena, Alicia Fox is already in the ring. And then Paige's music hits and she comes out. I think she got a big pop, of course, because she's from England, Norwich, which is, I think the commentator said it was only about an hour and a half away or something. I don't know. Either way, this match turned out to be shit. Fox is real aggressive immediately, of course. And they brawl out to the outside of the ring. And Fox picks up Paige and sits her on the barricade on the corner right by the end of the ramp. She sits her on the barricade and then just shoves her off. And so Paige tumbles and lands on the floor. Not in the crowd or anything, but whatever the fuck. They wound up back in the ring and they wrestled around a bit. Fox did a really sloppy tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. And then she did another one, picked her back up, and threw Paige ribs first into the post in the corner. Like, threw her between the ropes, ribs first into the post. And so Paige is in the corner, still kind of slung over the ropes, groaning. She gets her head up, and Fox boots her in the face over the ropes. And I think that was basically it. She drags Paige back into the ring, covers her. Or no, wait. Paige had already hit the Paige Turner at some point. Right, Paige hit the Paige Turner, but Fox kicked out of it. At 2. And then that's when Fox did the backbreaker throw into the post thing, booted Paige in the face, she dragged her back into the ring, covered her, 1, 2, 3, Fox wins. So of course, because we're in England, we have to shit on the hometown girl. Despite the fact that Alicia Fox is just terrible and doesn't even deserve a win like this with, we're in the hometown, we have to fuck over the hometown person. I'm not exactly surprised that they would do this, because they do this all the time to people in their hometown, Fuck's sake, great example. Most of the time, if they're in New York or if they're in Long Island, Zack Ryder's not even on the fucking show. But then again, that's not exactly a good example. They should just bury him, but no, he's not even on the show. But a lot of the times, if they're in somebody's hometown, they'll bring them out just to job them out and make them look stupid. It's ridiculous. Anyways, Fox decides to overreact beyond all rational belief that over the fact that she won. She's jumping up and down, she's hugging the ref, she goes over, and she's banging on the announce table. She grabs King's crown and puts it on, and she jumps up on the barricade and, like, starts tightrope walking across it. She grabs a fan's drink from out of the crowd, and she drinks a little bit of it, and then she dumps it on her face and on her chest. And she's still dancing around with Jerry's crown, and Jesus Christ. So what are we trying to do? Are we trying to push a new gimmick for Alicia Fox that she's, like, bipolar? Or something like that? Or she's, like, manic depressive? You know? She's overly emotional, you know? She freaked out last week when she lost, threw a temper tantrum. And this week, she's through the fucking moon that she won. Who cares? Moving on. We get another recap from Cena and Bray earlier. And that cuts, we get the Wyatt cut into the black, wherever it is that they film their fucking promos. And there's Rowan in his stupid sheep's mask. And then the camera cuts over to Harper, who starts talking. And then Bray starts talking, and I don't give a fuck about anything these guys say. They finish, and they cut to another commercial. Coming back from the commercial, Mark Henry comes out. And then Dolph Ziggler comes out. And we get another picture-in-a-picture promo. This time it's of Ziggler trying to cut a promo about the match. And during this promo, he says he doesn't care who his opponent is, blah, blah, blah. Up comes Henry in the promo. And he just kind of stares Ziggler down. And then Henry turns around and walks away, and Ziggler, like, covers his nose like, this motherfucker stinks. You know? Anyways, this is our third and final Beat the Clock Challenge match. And so I'm already thinking, okay, there's no way in hell they're going to have Ziggler win. And there's no way in hell they want Mark Henry to win and end up with the Intercontinental title shot against Barrett, because Barrett couldn't possibly beat him. So I'm guessing this is going to go to the time limit and it'll be a draw. And I was absolutely fucking right. Spoilers. They show RVD watching backstage, and let's see, yeah, there was a fucked up Fame-Asser spot. Henry's way too big to be doing this. He can't bend over all the way. And so when Ziggler went for it, Henry picked him up and kind of turned sideways, and it almost looked like he gave Ziggler a Blue Thunder bomb. But for some reason, Henry sold it like he had taken the Fame-Asser, and Ziggler covered him. Only got a 2, of course. Ziggler hits his drop kick, and let's see, what ended up happening, really stupid fucking spot. Ziggler dives off the top rope onto Henry. Henry catches him in position for the World's Strongest Slam. I think Ziggler went for a crossbody. But he catches him, he's in perfect position for the World's Strongest Slam, and I'm like, oh shit, you're not possibly going to be stupid enough to have Henry win. But no, Henry hoists Ziggler up onto his shoulder and power slams him instead of giving him the World's Strongest Slam. And I'm like, why the fuck would you not try to finish him, you moron? So of course, he power slams him, and he covers him, and Dolph kicks out at 2. And what ends up happening is Henry goes for the World's Strongest Slam, and as he goes to lift him up, because he always lifts him up a little bit before he slams him down, as he lifts him up, Ziggler jumps up, slips down the back, jumps back up, and hits the zigzag on Henry. And there's only a few seconds left on the clock at this point. And he hits the zigzag, and he rolls away from it, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Because, like, when he hit the zigzag, I was like, yes, they're actually going to have him win. This will be great. It'll put Ziggler over huge. He just beat Mark Henry. Right? But no. He rolls away because he's still selling. He's been beat up in the match. And I'm like, oh, God, I was right. The clock's going to run out. Ziggler crawls over to try and make the cover, but it's already too late. I think he got a 1 count before the clock ran out. If that. So the clock runs out. Ziggler was about to beat Mark Henry, though. So the clock runs out, the match is over, neither one of them win, so the match is basically just thrown out. And so immediately RVD's music hits and he comes out on the stage, and Justin Roberts announces, "Here is your winner of the Beat the Clock Challenge, and now the new number one contender for the Intercontinental title, Rob Van Dam." And Rob's there, he's got his arms up, he's like, "Hey, look at me, I'm high as fuck." And out of nowhere comes Wade Barrett, who clocks him from behind with the bullhammer elbow. And I'm thinking, wow, what a cheap shot artist. And of course, the moron British fans cheered the fuck out of this. Yay! Our boy is a cheap shot artist! Yay! You people are rooting for this piece of dog shit. How does that make you feel? He clocks RVD, knocks him the fuck out, and proceeds to cut a stupid fucking promo. And he finishes with one of the worst insults of all time. He says, what exactly was it? "This English lad is not going to let some Yank beat him for this Intercontinental title." And then, for no reason, the British Bulldog's old music hits. And that's how Barrett leaves. Now, I know the British Bulldog's music is, God Save the Queen, which is basically the British national anthem. Who gives a fuck? He leaves, and we cut to commercial. Coming back from the commercial, we get a recap of Stephanie's bullshit promo earlier. Cutting back to the ring, there's Renee Young. Yeah, she's in the ring for once. And she introduces her guest at this time, Adam Rose. And so we get the Exotic Express first, and then Rose comes out. And he starts talking, and Renee's trying to interview him, but he's almost interviewing her. This segment was painful. Renee asks him, lately you've been targeting Jack Swagger and Zeb Coulter. And Rose is like, targeting is a very strong word. It's really because I want these guys to loosen up. They're too much lemons. They need to be more like rosebuds. Have a good time. He gets the stupid bunny guy to start breakdancing and fuck shit. Finally, the Real Americans music hit, and out comes Swagger and Coulter. And Coulter's talking, and who gives a fuck? Zeb challenges Adam Rose to a fight or a match or whatever, and even he takes off his ugly fishing jacket vest thing. But of course this is all a setup. Rose gets cheap-shotted by Swagger. So Rose goes down. Swagger's looking at the party people, the Exotic Express, whatever you want to fucking call them. He's like, come on, you want to get some? He's basically bullying them. But of course, this is a distraction. Swagger turns around, there's Rose, who dives on him and starts beating the fuck out of him. Swagger and Coulter get chased off, like the chicken shits they are. So Rose sends them packing. And Renee finally gets back in. And Rose grabs the mic and he says, sometimes you gotta fight. But it's party time all the time. And we get his theme song and fucking... God. Moving on. More hype for Cena and Harper, which is coming up pretty much next. And they cut to a commercial break. Coming back from the commercial, another Bo video. And the commentators announced that not only is Bo going to be debuting on SmackDown, but we also have another special guest. Hulk Hogan is going to be on SmackDown. So again, I'm glad I'm not watching SmackDown. Cena's music hits and he comes out with the Usos. And then the Wyatt music hits and the three of them come out. And we get the match. And what the fuck do you think happens? This always happens. We get another clusterfuck and another shitty DQ finish. Another commercial break, and I literally wrote down, I don't care anymore, and neither does the crowd, because the crowd were chanting Adam Rose's music. The kind of and they're chanting that half of the match, and then they started chanting Fruity Pebbles at Cena. Harper super kicks Cena in the face. Cena locks in this STF, but Harper gets to the ropes and rope break. And what ends up happening is there's kind of a brawl between the Usos and Rowan and Bray. One of the Usos dives off running the barricade, dives off the barricade onto Rowan and Bray. And the other one's in the ring, and I'm guessing he was going to do like the big super dive over the top rope, but Bray jumps in the ring real quick, catches the Uso as he's bouncing off the ropes, catches him, and just immediately whips him, hits him with the Sister Abigail. The other Uso gets in the ring, and he comes running at Bray. He eats the Sister Abigail, too. I think Bray got out of the ring. The Usos, of course, got out of the ring. Cena hits the Attitude Adjustment on Harper. And then, of course, Rowan jumps in the ring, and he nails Cena, and that's a DQ. So the match is over. Cena wins by DQ, I guess. Harper and Rowan beat down on Cena. Cena tries to fight back. He kind of fights off Harper and Rowan. Harper and Rowan were holding Cena back as Bray did his goofy backbend pose in the corner. Cena fights off Harper and Rowan, but then he turns around and he gets nailed with the Sister Abigail anyways. And the crowd starts singing "The Whole World in His Hands" shit. The beatdown on Cena continues. They take him out of the ring and they start going up the rampway. And Harper throws Cena into Rowan, who gets him up and does a fallaway slam on the ramp. And then they get him up onto the stage, and Bray hits the Sister Abigail on Cena on the stage. And Bray has a mic, and he starts singing the song again. And while he's singing the song, Harper is over his shoulder counting 1, 2, 3, the last man standing shit. He gets to 9, and then he pauses for a while Bray continues to sing. Good long pause, and then finally Harper says 10. And Bray's still singing, but we get the Wyatt cut again, and that's the end of the show. So, thank God it's fucking over. I really wish I had just looked the results up on NoDQ.com like I do for SmackDown, because this dog shit was taped earlier today or the other day, I don't know, and I don't fucking care. The show sucked. Again. I'm really tired of this. As always, let me go through the matches once again, just to recap. Cesaro defeats Sheamus in a decent match. Big E defeats Ryback in a decent match as the first Beat the Clock Challenge match of the night, and he sets the time to beat. Slater gets squashed by Rusev for no fucking reason. I don't get this. 3MB are heels, and so is Rusev. What was the fucking point? Del Rio gets beat by RVD in a crappy match, and RVD sets the new time to beat in the Beat the Clock Challenge and ends up winning, of course. Rollins and Batista. I'm gonna guess Rollins wins by DQ. Either that or it went to a no contest. Who gives a fuck? Alicia Fox defeats Paige in a shit match. And then overreacts. Mark Henry and Dolph Ziggler goes to a time limit draw, I guess. and hence RVD wins the Beat the Clock Challenge and is the new Intercontinental Champion, only to get decked by Barrett, cheap shot artist that he is. And then Cena defeats Luke Harper by disqualification, I'm going to guess, only to have his ass completely handed to him. Which, again, as I've said before, he looks weak before the pay-per-view. Chances are he's going over at the pay-per-view. Not to mention the fact that I don't think John Cena has ever lost a last man standing match. So, Bray challenging him to one is basically him writing his own death warrant. Not that I fucking care. That's the end of the show. It was May 19th. 2014 from London, England. I'm surprised we didn't see anything from Kane. For those of you who don't know, May 19th was supposed to be some significant date to Kane. This is an old storyline, so I'm not surprised they didn't bring it up. And not only that, but it was a stupid storyline anyways. Who cares? Show sucked. Show's over. I don't really care anymore. I really don't fucking care anymore. I'm going to go do something that doesn't blow. I don't know. I think I might just punch myself in the groin for an hour and a half. It might be a lot more fun. You hear that, WWE? Fuck you. That is a sarcastic clapping to your shitty fucking show. Go fuck yourselves. Fire your damn writers. Fire your fucking writers. Fire your bookers. Fire Triple H. He's an ass clown. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, booking and writing the show. Let's fire Stephanie too. She has no clue what she's doing. Good God. I hate this company right now. With Daniel Bryan gone, and when he'll probably end up, they'll probably force him to surrender the title next week on Raw. If he loses the damn WWE title, I'm fucking done with this shit. I didn't go through 6 fucking months of him getting his ass kicked and getting screwed over, only to finally get the goddamn, the underdog treatment and finally win the title. I didn't go through all of that shit just to have him stripped of the damn title. Okay? We already lose CM Punk, and it doesn't look like he's coming back. He probably feels the same way I do about how god-awful this show is and how god-awful this company is. We already lost Punk. The show just ain't the same without him. Now we've lost Bryan for an indeterminate period of time while he recovers from his neck surgery. So we're probably going to end up with the title vacated and either given to somebody else who doesn't deserve it, or they'll hold some tournament or some stupid shitty battle royal or something to determine a new champion who probably still won't fucking deserve it. And it'll suck. So I really don't fucking care anymore. Like I said, I'm going to go do something else. That's the end of the Wrestling Rant for tonight. Thank you very much for watching. Watch Ring of Honor, folks. If you get it in your area. Try and watch Ring of Honor. Look up some other like indie-fed shows. Look that up on the internet. Maybe buy some DVDs. Anything's better than this dog shit. I'd suggest TNA, but TNA's really worse. And again, I'm still just waiting for Global Force Wrestling to get going and actually start holding shows. See how that goes. That's it for the Wrestling Rant tonight. Thank you for watching. Join us next time when we go over the SmackDown spoilers. If I even decide to do that, I don't know if I'm even going to feel up to it after this bullshit. That's it for the show. Join us next time. Join us next time for SmackDown. We will see you next time for that. good night.